In a world where hypnosis podcasts come and go, one man is here to deliver a knockout, no-holds-barred approach and deliver electrifying interviews with the world's top experts so you can discover the secrets to their success. Introducing the Hawaii Hypnosis Podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter and get instant access to 4 free skill-building audios that utilize a revolutionary hypnotic approach to improve your skills from the inside out. It's practically bulletproof. As a member of Hawaii Hypnosis, you'll join the ranks of the movers and shakers in the hypnosis and NLP community and discover how to significantly improve your skills from the inside out.
Aloha, everyone. It's Antonio Perez with another Hawaii Hypnosis podcast. Today, my guest is Richard Nongard. We're going to be talking about mindfulness and contextual hypnotherapy. How are you doing today, Richard?
I'm doing really good. It's always good to talk to you and to talk to everybody who listens to your podcast. You know, I hear more about your podcast than probably any other hypnosis information source out there, so congratulations.
That's good. Now I just have to start getting a lot more commenters. So people that are listening to this, if you scroll down on this blog post, my comment section is kind of bone dry. So do me a favor. Anytime I get comments, it helps me. That way I'm like, okay, cool, people are listening to this. And it also gives me more ambition to keep on recording them.
Sure.
So Richard, about contextual hypnotherapy, what is contextual hypnotherapy?
You know, that's a question that a lot of people ask me, and I posted a couple full-length 1-hour videos on YouTube related to contextual hypnotherapy. It probably sounds a lot fancier than it is. In contextual hypnotherapy, what we're doing is we're focusing on really the present moment. It's an approach to hypnosis that doesn't try to look back into the past to solve today's problem. And it's an approach to hypnosis that doesn't try to project out into the future what we don't know will happen to solve a problem, but instead really focuses on training clients in the skills of attending to the present moment. Because in the present moment, I can solve any problem. And it's an approach that incorporates research or evidence-based protocols from contextual psychology, approaches like acceptance and commitment therapy, approaches like mindfulness-based stress reduction, or approaches like even cognitive behavioral therapy. So that when we're working with a client, instead of, you know, a lot of times in hypnosis, clients believe, perhaps because they've watched too much Hollywood, that in order to solve today's problem, they have to go back into the past and resolve some, you know, mystical experience from their childhood. The reality is a lot of us have had extremely difficult experiences in the past. But the issue for me really is not where did I come from, but where am I now? And what do I need to do at this moment to feel a sense of control in my life? And contextual hypnosis draws from contextual psychology to help people live life to their fullest in the present. So that would be a simple explanation.
So you're basically tapping into all the resources that they have now that they might not have knew they had in the past.
Well, certainly that's a big part of it. Helping a person figure out a valued direction, a valued path. That's a big part of ACT therapy and contextual hypnotherapy. You know, we've all been taught in hypnosis training that a person responds to a positive suggestion more effectively or more likely than to a negative suggestion. Well, in contextual hypnotherapy, we're looking for that valued path. Imo Kue's law of suggestion. We want to attach a positive emotion to change rather than a negative emotion. And when we help clients to find their valued path in the present, despite where they've been in the past, or even despite their fears of the future, they're able to come to terms with anxiety, panic, depression, fear. They're able to overcome addiction. They're able to deal with impulsivity, to eat in a way that's more healthy for them. And the cool thing about approaches that incorporate contextual psychology is that they're truly based in the research. You know, we've had 100 years of psychology, but we've only had about 25 years of, you know, actual brain-based research into the methods of intervention that are most effective. And those tend to be things that focus on the present. Let me give you a quote. This is my favorite quote of all time. It's from the great master Oogway. You know who the great master Oogway was, Antonio?
It sounds familiar. If you want, you can kind of refresh me.
Most people say that. They say, the great master Oogway. He sounds familiar, but I quite can't put my finger on it. That's the turtle from Kung Fu Panda. Okay. Master Oogway.
Okay, funny one. Okay, so for everybody listening, real quick, for everybody listening, you can laugh at me. That's not the first time I've made myself look stupid.
No, you don't look stupid at all, Antonio. That wasn't my goal there. It's funny. You start talking about a serious subject and you throw in a reference to Kung Fu Panda, and people say, they just don't make the connection. That's one of those pattern interrupts we borrow from NLP. I use that with my clients all the time. I ask them, do you know who the great master Oogway was? And they look at me and they say, no. And I say, the turtle from Kung Fu Panda. And they all say, oh my gosh, yeah, now I know who you're talking about. Well, he summed up mindfulness, or really an approach to contextual hypnotherapy, very effectively. He said that yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, all we have is the present, and that's why it's a gift. Now, that's a quote from Master Oogway. And really, that's what good hypnosis is about, helping our clients to live their life to the fullest in the present moment. It's what mindfulness teaches. It's what contextual psychology advocates as the most effective solution to our problems, and it's what good hypnosis can train clients to do.
Now, in regards, you're talking about how you want people to be in the present. I guess this brings into my next question about mindfulness meditation. What is mindfulness meditation, and how do mindfulness meditation and contextual hypnotherapy go hand in hand?
Well, Michael Yapko, who wrote the book Trance Work, I think most hypnotists probably use that book as sort of the authoritative reference on, hypnotherapy. So Michael Yapko has written a number of different books that are truly useful and helpful. This year he wrote a book called Mindfulness and Hypnosis, where he talks about using guided mindfulness meditation in our hypnosis sessions. Now, I've been doing various meditation techniques with my clients for 20-some years, but the idea of mindfulness meditation really has, probably in the last 5 years, really sort of taken the public by storm. It's interesting that mindfulness meditation is actually searched on Google 10 times more often than the search term clinical hypnosis. So people are actually, the public's consciousness is there. And what mindfulness meditation is not a new idea. Really, it's a 5,000-year-old idea. It comes from a Buddhist philosophy. Anytime I say that something comes from Buddhist philosophy, non-Buddhists sort of freak out. Oh my gosh, he's going to teach me how to be a Buddhist. Buddha didn't know that they were going to start a religion called Buddhism. Buddha was actually really the first psychologist. It's more of a philosophy of living. And one of those tenets of Buddhism is right mindfulness, living fully in the present. And so the methods of mindfulness meditation have been around for about 5,000 years. What's interesting is that researchers in the last 20, 25 years, John Kabat-Zinn at the University of Massachusetts, the University of Toronto, and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, Stephen Hayes at the University of Nevada, a number of different academics have looked, though, at the process of mindfulness and the benefit of practicing mindfulness. And they found that it has specific health benefits, lowering blood pressure, helping people to deal with withdrawal from drugs, chronic pain management, all of these sorts of things. And as well as many emotional benefits and anxiety and panic and fear and anger control and eating disorders. Well, when I look at all of the things that mindfulness meditation is useful for from a clinical perspective, those are the same things that people come to hypnotists for. They come to manage anger, to deal with impulsivity, to to eat in a way that's healthy for them, to manage stress more effectively, to find ways to manage chronic pain. And so I think Yapko's book is very important because it's probably one of the first. To this point, we've had hypnosis books and we've had mindfulness meditation books, authors like Thich Nhat Hanh or John Kabat-Zinn. But we haven't had a book that said, hey, wait a minute, let's talk about the relationship between the two and how hypnotists can truly benefit by using methods of mindfulness meditation in their work. What I do with every one of my clients who comes in my office is during my pre-talk, I take 2 or 3 minutes, and I teach them a basic strategy for mindfulness meditation. I often don't use the word meditation. I simply use the word mindfulness and explain how this can be useful if they come to me for smoking cessation, weight loss, or anything else. I used to give hypnosis CDs to my clients when they left my office, but my clients often wouldn't take the time to listen to a 20 or 30-minute hypnosis CD every day. And I think that daily practice is important. So now I give them a hypnosis CD with the instruction to listen to it a couple times during the next week between now and my next visit with them. But I also give them a 3-minute mindfulness meditation training MP3, and I ask them to intentionally practice that 3 times a day. So that's a whopping 6 minutes a day of focus on practicing and learning mindfulness. And I find that when my clients come back in the second, third, fourth session, the single thing that was most helpful to them was that practice of mindfulness. And that's what the research shows, and that's what Yapko's book, Mindfulness and Hypnosis, also shows.
Join the ranks of the movers and shakers in the hypnosis and NLP community. Subscribe to the newsletter and discover why this podcast is taking the world by storm.
If you don't mind me asking, how do you instruct people to partake in a mindfulness meditation?
Well, really, the easiest way to teach people mindfulness meditation is to have them focus on the breath. The reason why is we've had our breath with us since the first day of life, and we'll have our breath with us until the last day of life. And so the breath is always with us. Now, think about hypnosis, how you have somebody sit in a chair, sit on stage in the stage hypnosis show, and we've often used eye fixation. We said, pick a point over on the far wall and bring your attention to that spot. Simply focus all of your attention on that spot on the far wall. Okay, so we often begin a hypnotic induction with eye fixation. Really, that is, in fact, a strategy of mindfulness. But instead of having my clients fixate their eyes on a spot on the far wall like I might have done 20 years ago when I first began doing hypnosis, I now simply ask my clients to close their eyes and to focus on the breath. Now, this breath becomes the focal point. It brings them to the present moment. What's really cool about this is for a hypnotist, it becomes a very simple anchor. So let's say I have a client who comes to me in hypnosis for anxiety or panic or confidence or anything else. I can anchor the resource state that they create in the session to the breath, give them an instruction to practice mindfulness exercises each day for 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and then by using mindfulness and the focus on the breath rather than eye fixation and a point on the wall, my client, as long as they're breathing, can use this anywhere. The other cool thing, and this is really cool in the pre-talk, I usually guide clients I'll say, and I'm going to teach you a simple strategy called mindfulness. I'm going to guide you through it now. It's about 2 or 3 minutes, so go ahead and close your eyes, and I will guide them through a basic process of mindfully paying attention to the breath. Now remember, I'm doing this during the pre-talk. What I've done, though, is I've slowed their heart rate, the respiration. They've become comfortable closing the eyes, even though we haven't begun a formal hypnotic process yet. They've focused their attention on the present. They've left all of their cares and concerns outside of the room. And really, when I'm done with this 2 or 3 minute training exercise in the pre-talk, now we get done with the pre-talk, we go over to the hypnotic furniture, as I call it in my office, and I've really already pre-hypnotized them. And so my induction can become a teaching tool rather than something that, is strange or foreign or, even complex to them. And so it becomes a great way of fractionating them. I taught them mindfulness, but now when we move over to the hypnotic furniture and they're sitting in the recliner with the headphones on, instead of doing the eye fixation, I bring them back to the breath, and what happens is, boom, they drop into a deep level of trance comfortably and easily because of that short practice ahead of time. So it's a pretty good strategy, pretty helpful.
Yeah, while you were doing that, I figured, I was like, I'm going to close my eyes, and well, good thing I'm not driving. I closed my eyes and started to do that, and I noticed myself just kind of gently drifting off. And then as soon as you stopped talking, I'm like, oh, great, I better kind of snap out, and I gotta be the interviewer.
Got to ask another question. Yeah. And it's just it can become almost a convincer in and of itself because it creates an experience, a state. It draws the attention to the present. And no matter how much stressful stuff is going on in my world, I can't pay my rent at the end of the month. My car doesn't work. My dog doesn't love me anymore. No matter what's going on outside of the hypnotist's office, as long as I'm breathing, I'm really okay. And that's really what it teaches. It teaches a person who may get caught up in their thoughts, who follows a thought. They become anxious and they follow that anxiety out to a day or 3 or 4 or a week or 2 or a year or 3 from now. So many of my clients, they come to my office and their problem is they can't shut their mind off because they're so busy fearing the future. Well, mindfulness is a way of not really shutting the mind off because that would be an impossible thing to do, but to just let a fear be a fear without having to follow it. And it then brings us into the therapeutic concept of acceptance. For most of my clients in hypnotherapy, the answer isn't to go back and find the initial event that causes their distress. In fact, for most of my clients, life is a cue to do their maladaptive behavior. I always find it funny that hypnotists purport to take 40 years of a difficult life and then find the one event that they're going to supposedly clear up to make everything better in the present. What mindfulness does is it helps my client to detach from those regrets of the past or those hurts of the past by just letting the past be the past. And that's so much easier than trying to resolve the past. And the psychological research actually shows it's a much more effective method than Freudian approaches, which is what really regression is based on.
And much less painful.
Absolutely. I've never understood the concept of my life was so miserable for the first, 40 years. Now I'm going to pay you $100 an hour or whatever the fee is, $100 an hour to help me relive the misery of my past. I mean, that's just always struck me as an odd thing. What's interesting is that, and I'll, some hypnotists won't be happy about me saying this, but the world of psychology is always from an academic perspective trying to look at, how the mind works. And psychology is always changing. But it's amazing how in hypnosis education, we teach the same thing in certification classes that were taught 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And we haven't looked to see, is what we are doing empirically effective? Is this the best way to help a person solve a problem? And Freud's idea, 100-year-old idea of regression, according to the research, is not the most effective way to help a person make change. There are less painful and faster ways to do it. Contextual psychology, mindfulness meditation is one of those ways to do it. There are others as well, but certainly mindfulness is what we're focusing on today.
And besides, if there was some cokehead that were to come up to you nowadays and give you some advice about psychology, would you listen to what he has to say?
Did he say cokehead comes up to me and gives me his ideas on psychology?
Yeah.
Oh, like Sigmund Freud. No. I actually have, I kind of like puppets. I know you've seen some of my non-mirror TV shows. I have my Sigmund Freud puppet over here sitting on a singing bowl. And no, I wouldn't listen. We can't. We got to thank Sigmund Freud because none of us would be here without him. He organized the field of psychology. He brought us academically from theology being the queen of the social sciences and mysticism to psychology and a scientific approach. So that contribution is significant because probably none of us would be here without Sigmund Freud doing the work that we do. But the reality is none of his theories have proven to be useful and valid. In fact, his only theory that has any real utility, the id, the ego, and the superego, was an idea that Sigmund Freud didn't have until he was in his late 70s. So the first 50 years of his work was things like why does a hot air balloon and a penis have in common when you're in that dream state? And Sigmund Freud's answer was both arise. So his contributions from a theoretical perspective have for the most part been discarded by practitioners, except for some reason in the world of hypnosis.
Yeah.
Where we want to continue to take people to the past to solve today's problem, which is not the most effective approach.
Richard, I don't know about you, but I have never had any kind of attraction to either one of my parents, according to Freud.
Yeah, Freud had some pretty bizarre ideas. That's definitely true.
You're listening to the Hawaii Hypnosis Podcast. Can I ask you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes by going to hawaiihypnosis.org/iTunes and give us a 5-star rating.
Now, in regards to contextual hypnotherapy and mindfulness meditation, why should a hypnotist learn how to use these skills?
Well, they should learn to use it so that they can, I think, use a gentle convincer during a pre-talk. In other words, so many of us are taught, stick their hand to the desk or, stick their eyelid together or make their fingers come together. And there's a place in a client to use all of those traditional convincers. But experiential convincers that really teach a skill are particularly useful. And a basic strategy for mindfulness is one of those things. Hypnotists should learn mindfulness because it's, I think, one of the most effective anchors. It gives me something specific that my client can attach a resource state to, because no matter where they are when they leave our office, they're always going to have this. And so it can be incorporated into anchoring very effectively. Mindfulness should be learned by hypnotists because therapeutic approaches like ACT therapy or mindfulness-based cognitive therapy or mindfulness-based stress reduction or dialectical behavioral therapy. These are all things that are the current focus of research in psychology. And if hypnotists want to be able to interact with medical professionals and get referrals from medical professionals, they need to understand what the current literature says, but more importantly than that, the language of the current research. For example, let's just say I wanted referrals from oncologists. I wanted to see clients in my office who were cancer patients. Well, I can guarantee you that every single oncologist knows the research, the utility, and the value of mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness meditation. But they might not understand the value and the utility and the research on clinical hypnosis. And so I can, somebody asked me not too long ago, what's really the difference between hypnosis, meditation, and yoga? And I thought about it for a long time, and the only answer I could actually come up with was, in yoga, we have to wear funny clothes. Sometimes these things really are semantic. I truly believe that there really is no difference between hypnosis or meditation techniques. They all serve the same purpose. They go about it in similar fashions. I think hypnosis is really a big tent word that includes so many different things, ranging from, energy psychology and Reiki to mindfulness meditation to self-hypnosis and all these sorts of things. But the academics, the researchers, the MD world, the psychology world is not interested in clinical hypnosis. What they're interested in is mindfulness-based stress reduction or mindfulness-based suggestive therapy, or mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. And by being able to interact with professionals using the language that they're familiar with and assuring them that you will be working with clients in a way that's consistent with what they believe is an evidence-based protocol, we're going to open the doorway to referrals that we otherwise would never have had.
Oh, and it's always good to be able to get to get more referrals from medical professionals.
Oh, definitely.
Now, Richard, would you mind talking about your upcoming webinar on mindfulness and contextual hypnotherapy?
Yeah, this weekend, I guess it's November 3rd, Saturday, I'm going to be in Seattle with Roger Moore. And if anybody in the Seattle area wants to come to the Holiday Inn on Dexter Avenue from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we're going to be doing a 6-hour or a 7-hour training on mindfulness and hypnosis. The cool thing is that we're going to be simulcasting that. We're going to be webcasting that worldwide. So anybody who wants to from any computer anywhere in the world can simply register, and if they can't make it to Seattle, they can watch the entire event that Roger and I are going to be teaching together in Seattle. There's even something better. And if a person can't make it at that particular time zone, the whole event will be archived. So as soon as I get back from Seattle, those who have registered for it, I'm saying 7 days later, but hopefully have it up in 3 or 4 days later, they can have access to the entire event as a video on demand. So they can watch all 7 hours from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock as if they were there in the room with us. And the cool thing is that we've priced it at $99 for the whole day. So if a person wants to come to Seattle, we're doing that on Saturday, November 3rd. If they want to watch it online from their home while we're in Seattle, still $99. If they want to watch the video archive, everybody who registers will get access to the video archive, so they'll be able to watch it on their own time, just as soon as they get the video rendered and uploaded to my server.
So everybody, if you want to check this event out, if you're in Seattle or if you're in a different time zone, you can use my affiliate link. If you go to hawaiihypnosis.org/mindfulness, that's hawaiihypnosis.org/mindfulness. Anybody that's taken place in any of his trainings, webinars, etc., they know that he always over-delivers. And him and Roger Moore both over-deliver.
Yeah, in fact, that was actually our plan. I said to Roger, okay, we need about 10 hours worth of material because we want to over-deliver during the 7 hours that we have everybody. So, we're going to teach specific skills. Hypnotists are going to know how to do a mindfulness training exercise. They're going to know what to do with it. They're going to know how to anchor it. They're going to know how to use it as a condenser. They're going to know how to use it as a tool for induction and reinduction. They're going to know how to use it as a teaching tool. And that's going to benefit, again, chronic pain clients. It's going to benefit anxiety and depression, addiction, withdrawal, all of those types of clients who go to see hypnotists. And I'm looking forward to it.
And everybody listening to this, realize this is happening in a few days, so definitely register as soon as you can. Something that you definitely do not want to miss.
Yep, it's going to be a pretty good event. We have a pretty good turnout in Seattle, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. But again, the other thing is if people tune in to the event live, they can watch it, but they can also interact with me and Roger. They can ask a question in the chat box, and Roger and I will incorporate that into the real-time event that we're going to be broadcasting.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions about this webinar before you register for it, if you scroll down, you'll see the comment section. Go down, scroll down, leave a comment, and I'll make sure it gets to Richard and he can contact you. If you don't have any questions, you want to register, go to hawaiihypnosis.org/mindfulness.
Well, thank you, Antonio. I always enjoy talking with you and your audience.
Thanks for listening to the Hawaii Hypnosis Podcast. Connect with us at facebook.com/Hawaii Hypnosis. Twitter.com/Hawaii Hypnosis, and YouTube.com/Hawaii Hypnosis.